We're back. Hey, something like that with Nav. How you doing? How you feeling? Another week, another episode, and thank you so much for tuning in. To our friends from the other parts of the world, especially the Southeast Asia region, thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, once you tune into this particular podcast, please hit on the subscribe button, follow button, like button, whatever you need to do, just do it, all right? And today on the show, I got one of the busiest men in Kuala Lumpur, especially in the music industry. He is churning out music like nobody's business, music video, live sessions. He's a host of two programs. One is going to be on the radio, which is called Lokalah, a show that features all the local artists, Malaysian artists. An awesome show. You got to check that out. And he is also a co-host on the Aforadio called Pop-Up Stage. It's a very special segment of that. We'll chat about that in a bit from now. But in the meantime, let's bring him on board. Darren, my man. Darren Teh of An Honest Mistake. There you go.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful, right? Honest mistake. An honest mistake.
Honest mistake, yeah. Or for short, you can just go AHM.
Yeah, AHM. That's the best way to put it, man. How you been, man? You've been super freaking busy, dude.
Yeah, man. 2020 has been a year pretty much, of a, reset and I won't say rebranding, but it's just trying to make a mark even in a COVID world,
Yeah.
So, I just kept myself busy producing music. I started producing music in March by myself, and I've already made like 10 demos, and I'm still like making all these like bits and pieces of things, working with other bands, other artists. So,
Actually, you'd be surprised, man. You'd be surprised. Like, everybody assumed that it's going to be a shitty year. You can't do much, can't move much. But in actuality, when you come to think of it, when you look at some parts of, or rather some group of artists, including you, there's a lot of things can be done. A whole lot of things that was possible. People thought that, okay, I need to be only in a studio, and I can't do if I don't have a studio, I don't have the money. But the so-called DIY concept kicked in for 2020, and it's been proven effective for a lot of people, man.
Hey. Yeah, man. Yeah, so the thing is, like, 2020 was a year of, I guess unlearning and learning new things. I just had to pick up, I picked up so many different skills, like cooking is one of them, and then like recording stuff at home. I mean, of course, they're not top quality, but at least it's good enough for me to get something going, So
Nice.
I've got that, and then I got into video editing a little bit, and just trying to keep myself active, and then obviously I've got the 2 radio shows that I've been doing. Even the lockdown, with my setup at home, I'm still able to record stuff and send it back to the studio. I don't have to physically be there.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's definitely kept me busy lah. Everything that I've been doing, working with all the different artists. In fact, like I just signed a couple of new ones. And it's good, So
there's a lot of artists that you've signed up. As a matter of fact, some of them were featured on this particular podcast, and it's amazing. As also, you've also been working with a lot of producers, or shall I say, DJ come producers, music makers, which we're going to call it. And the new one, I don't give a damn. That's also coming up tomorrow. Or is it today?
No, that's next Friday.
Next Friday. Sorry,
next Friday.
I'm losing track of time. It's like I seen you coming up with stuff so frequent. It's like, okay, now when's next? Tomorrow, day after tomorrow? I know there's tomorrow there's going to be a video called Vanessa, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. That was for tomorrow, yeah. I was looking back at your work, and it's like, wow, there's a lot of things, and I'm just going to just highlight some of it, which I saw. You were also the winner of the best best male vocalist for what's the thing? Modern music, is it?
Yeah.
Modern.
I actually still don't really know what it is. But at the same time, I remember vaguely having a conversation with somebody. I would think that it was probably somebody from like China, maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think like it's actually a China or Taiwanese based thing. And they had sent me an email saying that, hey, I want to submit you, like for this and that. And I'm like, sure, whatever, just go ahead. Yeah, so like to my surprise, we actually won.
Nice.
Yeah, so like there was a message saying that, drop us an email if you want the actual prize. But I don't know like if there's any other information apart from that, you know what I mean? Yeah. But the point is, you know, somebody actually recognized me and acknowledged me as, you know, a good singer.
That's
To be
the
honest,
thing.
like up till now, I don't think I'm even a good singer. You know, that's why I mask like the lack of great singing, you know, by going crazy on stage, you know, having like crazy ass performance at like, you know, stuff that we do on stage,
No,
you
it's
know.
it's all about entertainment. It's not necessarily
Yeah,
if you're
exactly. You're
just
right.
on singing alone. It's all about entertainment.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people with the way when they listen to music, it's not necessarily has to be just the singing or just the music. It comes as a package. There's a feel
Yeah.
good factor listening to the whole music. So I think you
Yeah.
guys did a fantastic job. And also the music video, that's another great thing. And another thing from that, apart from winning these awards, you also have your hand in a lot of producing stuff because I've realized there's one of it that with a band called South and the Lowland or something like that.
South and the Lowlands, yep.
Yeah, you had your hand in producing one of the tracks, right? Or the
Yeah,
album.
actually the entire album. I mean, I didn't like when people say like producing, you know, it could mean a lot of things. You know, it could mean like, you know, uh, working on a track or tracks, you know, from the initial conception all the way till it's finally done. You know, so for me, it was a lot easier because the guys had already written all their songs. You know, and I came into the studio with them while they were recording. You know, I told them, okay, you know, why don't you do it this way? Why don't you use this part of the guitar to play? You know, why don't you play this lick here? Why don't you sing it this way? You know, so it was that kind of production more
Or
than
creative
anything
input, to be
else.
more precise.
Yes, correct. Yeah, so creative input. You know, like I told them, okay, you should use like this part of the drum or like the cymbals. You know, but the guys already had great songs to begin with. You know, so what I did was just, you know, the icing, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
So
It turned out pretty well. I was listening to the entire album. It sounded pretty cool, man. It's
yeah,
like,
man, it sounds great, dude. Like those guys are a creative bunch, you know, but the only setback about the album is that it was recorded maybe I think throughout 2018, if I'm not wrong, and then 2019, you know, the guys kind of went through a different phase in their life. You know, some of the guys got married, you know, switching jobs and all that, and some got into like full time like ministry in church and stuff like that. So as a band, those guys are not active as a band anymore, you know, but they still
Okay.
put out the album anyway, which is actually good stuff, you know. So who knows that it might spark something, you know, new,
you know, a
especially
reunion or
this
maybe
year.
a sidetrack project.
Correct.
It
So
happens.
they might just restart again.
Yeah, when you have something good, share it, man. Why keep it in the vault?
Exactly.
Just bring it all out. And also another band that you're involved with is what, Shamash or something? I hope I get
Yeah.
these names right.
Shamash, yeah.
Shamash.
So
Okay, what's-
Shamash is you know, in fact I actually had my bandmate, you know, just come over. So the main guy from Shamash, his name is Andre, and he was one of the one of the first like Christian death metal bands here in Malaysia, you
Wow.
know, and he was signed to a label that was, you know, I mean, they were a circular label, you know, it was not a Christian label, and here in Malaysia, so he was one of the first to do that, and his band was called Necromanicide, you know, and at that time this was like early 90s, like 1990, 91, and yeah, so he had recorded, you know, stuff and got sent all the way to US, you know, Japan and Indonesia and all that, and then later on, after putting out that one album, the band just died, you know. So,
Ah.
you know, and I've been friends with him, you know, for a long time, you know, because we went to the same church and all that. And then he randomly, you know, so this project happened because of a random message that he had sent to me after I had posted something, you know. I said something like, this was last year, and I said something along the lines of, you know, I've never really talked about like money openly, you know, but 2020 was a hard year, and you know, I said something along those lines of like, you know, everything that I've been doing, there's no money on, you know, and then he dropped me a message. He just went like, hey man, do you need money or not? Because I have some to spare. And I
Oh, sweet
was,
of him.
yeah, I was taken aback, because that message was meant to be, neutral. It was just something that I wanted to put out there. I didn't expect anything in return. So he sent me that message, and that was kind of like the spark of it all. Then he started telling me things about how he tried to restart Necromanicide and it didn't work, and that there was a lot of conflict. And he's always been a fan of the band. He's very supportive of us. Even my other like band Army of 3 as well. He's always been very, very supportive of every single thing that I've done. So he shared all these like Necromanicide like demos that he had been working on, and like one thing led on to another. He's like, hey, why don't you join the band? And initially I was very reluctant. I said, I really don't want to. I want to focus on An Honest Mistake, because that's like my main thing, but I'll help you lah, and I'll just listen to the stuff. And then later on, he told me, maybe you should just come on board as like a producer, just like what I did with Sound in the Lowlands. And that's what I did. I was present for a couple of recording sessions. And then after that, I was like, okay, I think it's good to go. So just go ahead, release it. And then I decided, okay, I've got all the time in the world now, let's just go ahead lah, and just be a part of this band lah. So that's how it happened, So the EP, man, to be honest, like, the EP was all Andre, and of course there's myself and Alex as well. So Alex is also from Army of 3. So it's how just the three of us coming together, fusing in all our influences, that kind of like is the new thing. So the first EP was mostly Andre. I overlooked a few things. Alex was in charge of the recording process as a whole. So I was just, the overlooking person lah. That album actually got us signed to Rottweiler Records, which is an independent label in America, which is actually very influential in the Christian world. And the song is charting and on this chart called the GMW, which I had just found out that there's a Christian Grammy. So the Christian Grammys, it's called Dove Awards, and songs from the GMW actually get picked, and they get chosen to be in the Dove Awards, from there. And Shamash, a band that's barely a year old, has 2 songs that are on the chart, and songs that have remained on the top spot for a long time, So all these Otai bands, all these like guys that have been in the industry for like 20-30 years, they're like, who are these new guys, and who are they from Malaysia, So I think like for me it's kind of something cool, for an Asian band to be signed to an American label and to be charted so well in America, and who knows what could happen. In fact, we actually got an invitation to play Wacken Open Air Festival, and
cool.
Like that's in Germany, and who gets that kind of invitations, So all these contacts came from Andre himself, because he's obviously been in the scene for a long time, and he's still very old school, like forums and Facebook groups, like the Christian metal, Facebook groups and all that. So he is a part of all of that, So, and he's quite influential in that area. So for a band that's barely a year old to be, involved so heavily in the Christian world in America, I think it's amazing lah. Yeah, because like the Christian music scene here in Malaysia, it's very close to non-existent right now.
That's the thing. I've noticed that for a while now. Is like, I know it was huge at one point. Not to say huge. It was there for one point in time, and then halfway through, it kind of disappeared. It became such a kind of monotonous. It had a monotonous tone to it.
Yeah, so that's the thing about all the Christian bands in Malaysia. It's such a sad thing to see, because in the early 2000s, a lot of the bands that came out from all these different churches, they started playing shows, started gigging, some recorded stuff and all that, and then later on they all just grew up or grew out of it, and then everything just disappeared. So.
Oh, man.
Yeah, even for Army of Three. Like, Army of Three was actually my first band before An Honest Mistake. And that was a Christian band. And we were, kind of like going places and climbing, And then there was some, like, internal, like, I won't say disagreements, but more of, like...
Difference of opinions, lah.
Difference of opinions, yeah. So then we decided to, like, take a break. And then after that, we came back. As in, like, I rejoined the band in late 2014. That was when we spent the year writing a new album, and then 2016 we put out the new album and we toured for a bit, and then it happened again. We decided, okay, I don't think this is working out. So let's not pursue it anymore. Yeah, I mean, we're all friends.
Yeah.
It's just that.
That's Army of Three. That's the reason I do recall having a chat with you guys. Army of Three. I think it was Air 4. Yeah, right. Air 4 was in Tracks. I can't remember way
this
back
was at
then.
Tracks. This was at Tracks years ago.
Yeah.
It was myself and Jeff, I remember.
Yeah, I remember that was some time ago, right?
Yeah.
Because I was trying to recall. I know that I have chatted with you guys before, but just couldn't figure out where. It's just that when you do it for so many years, it's like, okay, time's catching up, man. Time's catching up. No, that's the best part about this. Yeah, I was saying.
Yeah, no, so yeah, I mean, like, just wanted to say, like, all, like, the Christian bands, so in 2016 we had formed a group, called Hardcore, and that was actually the title of the album that Army of Three had put out, as in HEART, core, so we wanted to capture the essence of, faith and, like, and all of that stuff, and we had managed to pull together about 10 other Christian bands together, and even that also, after that season had gone, after we took a break, everything just disappeared. So South and the Lowlands, they were one of them, took a break as well, So now there's Shamash, and hopefully this will lead the way, for extreme music, at least here in Malaysia, for other Christian musicians to come out and say that, hey, we want to do something that's faith-based,
Yeah. It's actually good, because the thing is, everybody's a little, I don't know, they're pretty cautious in whatever they're stepping into. Shall I do it? Shall I not do it? I'd say go for it, man. I go for it. You see, the movement is huge. I'm going to say, like, even when you talk about, like, our podcasters and Christian preaching and so on, the support you get is amazing. It's just that people, the generation, there's one group of generation who has not been exposed yet to this sort of music or this kind of trend, which they need to be exposed to. You never know. From that, one thing could lead to another thing, and it could be a huge industry of its own.
Yeah.
That's something I'm looking for.
Yeah, man. But for Shamash, I mean, like, the strategy is really just, to head straight to US, lah, and also because of the favor, from the guys, in America as well, So, it seems to be doing really well. So right now, we are looking to release a new album. So, we're still in the writing stage. I'm reprogramming, like, a bunch of stuff, like doing the drums and all that. And, so Andre was just over at my place, just trying to nail some vocals and stuff like that. But it's a whole long process, it's relearning for Andre as well, because when he recorded stuff in the 90s, it was on tape.
Wow.
Whereas now things are all digital, so the things are done a little bit differently. A lot of things can be manipulated, but of course, like, we all know that the source of it has to be good first, before you can manipulate it further.
Yeah, I never know, man. Just keep your fingers crossed, and hopefully that works out fine. There's one thing interesting, like, we were talking of, you see, in the span of the last 15 minutes, we've seen so many things happen in just 1 year. All the stuff that's been moving on. And that's one of the reasons, or rather the topic of this conversation today, the future of artists in 2021, especially locally down here. You're one of the best examples. One of the main reasons I needed to have you on board is because you have proven that a lot of things can be done. There's no excuses whatsoever in terms of moving on as an artist. Of course, the question of monetary is also there, but let's put that aside, because you need to keep on churning. Need to keep on doing things in order for people not to forget you and not to forget your music.
Yeah.
And at the very same time, you can't overdo it. So you need to have a balance in both worlds, right?
Yeah.
So I need to find out about you. I need to pick your brain a little bit about some of the works that's been done by the artists, especially when it comes to. Let's start off with live streaming. This has been one of the topics that I've been discussing. As a matter of fact, there was an article written about it. Artists are going on live streaming platforms, trying to earn a living down there. I find there's pros and cons to that, because the
Definitely.
good part is, one, okay, you can show the people, you can keep your fans entertained going on out there. But if you're not well equipped to put on a good show, it's going to just project something negative, or rather give you a bad image of whatever you're doing. Because let's face it, no matter how good you are, your equipments, your tools play a very important role. You're investing in proper tools. And secondly, if you're going to do it so frequently, what's going to happen is people are going to have too much of you.
Yeah.
On a regular basis, there's too much of you. And three, if you want to start charging, I understand that there's a group of people. The good thing is friends who support live acts, buy the tickets for shows and so on. But of course, you can't do it on a regular basis. And not everybody's into the whole thing. So these kind of things, what are the alternative? What's your take on this whole thing? Is like, what's your perception on this whole live stream, live shows thing? Good, bad?
Yeah.
What are the things that the artists should be looking into whenever they do this kind of things?
I think the first and most important thing is to invest into yourself and to depend on yourself before, depending on other people. Okay, so the first thing is, invest into equipment, making sure, like what you said, making sure that you sound good, because you want to leave a good impression every single time. You don't want, like, if you go and play a show, you want to play your best show, but you can't play your best if there are certain factors. For example, like right now, the equipment. You can't be doing like, Instagram live like from your phone, and just perform using the phone's like, built-in mic.
It's always a nightmare, man, listening to that.
Exactly. The quality is going to be bad, and if the lighting is not bright enough, you don't have a ring light or whatever, it's not going to look good, it's not going to sound good. So doing some research, would be very, very important. So research on what kind of equipment you can get, because the thing is, like the mic that I'm using now, it's only 150 ringgit. So the thing is, like, you don't even need like a $2,000 mic. So
you can just invest in the cheaper ones, but quality side, like
exactly,
effective
so
ones.
Find other alternatives, and invest into your equipment. That's one, because you want to sound good, you want to leave a good impression. The second thing is, what you said, like, about like performing too often. I think like there's never such a thing as performing too often, because we never know who we are hitting.
Good point.
So it really depends on the artist's discretion whether they want to perform, a lot, or they don't want to perform. For example, like myself, I know that I cannot do covers. There's a limited amount of covers that I can do. For certain artists who can do covers, anytime, they know the top 40s at the back of their hands, Now, for those guys, free. By all means, sure, go ahead, do it. But the thing is, like for me, I can only play originals and some covers, and I can only do it so many times. So I would rather save it for other things,
Do it like a showcase.
Do it like a showcase. And that's exactly what I did, because last year I only did 2 full band live stream shows. One was called The Platform, and it was a paid thing, full production, full proper sound, audio, like video, everything. There were 7 to 8 cameras, a proper production crew, everything was properly done. Now, that was live stream, and the quality was good, and I didn't mind, because like it was a ticket split. I didn't mind getting paid less, or I didn't mind getting paid like a tiny bit, because I knew that it was going to sound good, and that I was able to get a recording of the video as well. So I knew that the value was that. So it was not just like, oh, okay lah, if you're not going to pay me, I'm not going to play. I saw it as an opportunity for me to get something out of it as well. You
The
know, so
ROIs
that's
were
why-
fair enough, lah.
Exactly. So that's why I did it. So that's one, right? The second show that I did was a Christmas show, at the end of the year. I mean, early December, and that was a ticketed thing that I was also trying out the platform that I was using, which was PTix, and they are great, by the way. So everything is hosted on their site, you know, ticketing, purchasing, and then later on, like the ticket splits and all that, you know, they would segregate everything and then just bang into you once the show is done. You know, that is a perfect setup. Instead of putting like scrollers, oh, please donate, Maybank, blah, 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 and all that. Now, for me, I feel that is begging.
Okay.
You know, you can call it donation or whatever, you know, but personally for me, I mean, some people may disagree with me, but I feel that you should not display something and ask, please donate. You know, I
Okay.
just feel that as an artist.
So you rather do it like in the sense of, okay, I'm going to be performing tonight, and this is the fee to come on board, like a
Exactly.
Zoom session's going on.
like a Zoom
Okay,
session. Yeah.
purchase the access to come and check me out. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's like it's instead of going on tipping, you go for this
Yeah.
one, make it look a little more, let's say, how do I put it, more effective or more professional, or
More
either one of it.
professional, and I would say, I'm not trying to put people down for doing the
Yeah.
whole tipping thing. You know, it's just that as an artist, you want to maintain a certain kind of level of, you know, like reverence and respect. You know,
Okay.
so you don't want to like dumb down as well. You know, but that's just personally for me, right? So I would rather just do a ticketed thing, and that's what I did. Now, I had 7 artists perform. You know, it was a full-on show. So all the video that I'm releasing on Friday, and for the next couple of months, you know, so because I did 10 songs, so for the next 10 weeks, you know, I'll be releasing like one video from the actual Christmas performance. Now you
Okay.
can see like from the audio, you know, it's good. Now the video, not the best, but it was good enough in the sense that everything is clear. You know, there were different angles, you know, and I shot all of that at home using my phone. You know, like we had
Nice.
all our phones. We had the whole band, you know, everybody had their phones, you know, and we just placed them at all these places and we recorded it, you know, and then later on I took the video, you know, I edited it, and we got
Actually,
our
you learn a
friend-
lot of things. There's one thing I've noticed. This whole DIY thing is like when
Yeah.
you know you can't go out, you can't spend money or whatever. You tend to learn a lot of things. Like I'm doing a
Exactly.
comparison with this particular show, day one, how it started, and today, how the
Yep.
whole setup, how it looked like. It's completely different, and of course, there's nobody involved in the production of this particular podcast
Exactly.
itself. It's like you
Yep.
got to learn. You go on YouTube every day,
Yep.
spend an hour or two, and
True.
just learn every single thing you can think of. So there's
Yeah.
no excuse given out there. So that's one of the things. Like, why I'm not against, like what you said, I'm not against the so-called live stream or whatever. It's just that I'm a bit concerned of my fellow musicians. It's like when you do it too often, it's like the value, or rather the perception people have
Yeah.
over an artist. Once this whole thing is over, you know, when they get back to everything is back to normal,
Yeah.
people are going to start looking at, hey, this guy was just doing this for tips, and this guy was doing it so regular basis. So he'll
Yeah.
just take anything, whatever you want. You know,
Yeah.
that was my concern. As it is, people are taking advantage of artists and during shows and things
Exactly.
like that. So this could be a contributing factor in the near future for people to take advantage of you. That's one of my main
Yeah.
concerns on that part. Because that's why I say, like, when you're doing it too often, also, it's like once you have too much of it, people will say,
Yeah.
okay, this is how it is. There's no suspense. The frequency is so
Yeah,
high.
that's
It's
true.
that's what I meant by doing it often and not. Interacting with your
Yeah.
fans is a different story altogether.
Yeah.
You know, like chatting with your friends, you're going on Facebook Live or maybe Instagram Live,
Correct.
answering questions and maybe just throwing a song in between.
Yeah.
That's a different game altogether. But
Yeah.
doing it on a very, very frequent basis, how would it affect you? How would the impact be in the near future? That's
Yeah.
another question.
Yeah, so
Then-
there's always another way around it, you know. It doesn't like you can go on like live as often as you want, you know, but it doesn't have to just be music, you know, because like the music is your product. But as an individual, as an artist, you know, there are other things that you can do. You know, maybe you can go on shows, you know, and give advice, you know, or
Yeah.
be that kind of person where, you know, oh, tell me all your problems, you know, and I would just want to listen to you, you know, that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Like
Tips on what
there's-
I do with my guitar, tips on how I
Correct,
play
yeah.
my drums,
So there's,
you know, things like that.
there's always like an opportunity for you to create content and to to be extra creative. It doesn't have to just be, oh, I'm a musician, all I can do is play music, that means I should just perform. No, you can do a bunch of other things. You know,
true.
you can talk about, like, for example, the guys at the Selangor musicians, like, what are they called? Suddenly I can't remember. Yeah, so basically these are the guys, they are the otais,
Okay.
they Persatuan Pemuzik Tempatan PPTS, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Persatuan Pemuzik Tempatan Selangor. Now, these guys are amazing musicians. They have been in the scene like forever. And initially when March 2020, they were supposed to do like a concert to raise funds. And because of the pandemic, they couldn't do it. They ended up doing live shows, live stream from their phone and all that, and from there, now they actually have a recording studio where they do live shows from there. Full on production, few cameras, proper sound, everything is amazing, right? Now, the only other thing that I would suggest to them, because they are such great musicians, people are logging in and watching them all the time. Now, they are streaming on Facebook. Tons of viewers. And they have a tip option there, right? Now, I would suggest to them, instead of doing a tip option, do showcases instead. And because these are great bands from the past, like Memories and Pieces and all these people, so they should actually use PTIX and get on PTIX where it's a proper ticketed thing. Everything will be segregated, At least your effort is worth, every single penny that you're gonna get from the show, And prior to that, you already know, okay, 100 people have already purchased the tickets, And
so
even you know what you're gonna make, you know what to expect, And even at the end of the day, I mean, this is just the Chinaman in me. Even if the fella at the end of the day, he's purchased the ticket already, on the day of the show, they don't watch it, it's their loss.
You still make money. Yeah.
You still make money,
Actually, this is exactly, it's also marketing at the very same time.
Exactly.
Because it's like, the date, or let's say you have a 2-month gap period to sell your product, sell your show. You can just do a build up to it, and then you just sell it as much as possible. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, going to make tons of money or whatever, but at least you have the exclusivity to prepare yourself when you come back to the main scene again when everything is fine. So that's one thing people got to look into, because I've also been involved in some of the so-called live stream shows where you need something to do with PTIX also. And I've also noticed because when I did it, it was at a very early stage of the so-called ticketing thingy. So the response wasn't exactly as much as we expected. But on the long run, when you look at it, it started building up, and more shows started kicking in, and more people started purchasing tickets as time progresses. So these are the things people need to look into. And for artists, I think that's one of the things you have to pay attention to. And another thing which I have to pick on, sorry to say this, for the guests, present guests, past guests, or future guests, another thing you guys got to pay attention to is when you get on board for interview sessions or media and things like that, conversation-wise, there's a whole lot of things that you might want to look into, because trust me, you're not going to have any TV side or much of radio side going to be happening anytime soon. So it's about time you guys start investing in good internet and also proper equipments for you to have a conversation online. That's what's going to be happening a lot, man.
Exactly, and it's crazy the amount of interviews. I mean, I guess maybe like for me, so happen I'm a radio host, and I do all these interviews and I'm used to it, But even if I am not, and even if there's a musician, who is not used to this, but at least you definitely use it for work, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody's working from home, You're either on Microsoft Teams or Google Hangout, or you're even on Zoom, Or a more old school one would be Skype. So I am quite sure that there is, some kind of experience, using these kinds of technology, right? And for example, like, let's say, webcam not good lah. Okay, like for example, I'm using my laptop webcam right now. But if I want a better quality, I can just use an app and hook it up to my phone, and my phone will become a webcam. Now, how do I know this? I talk to
YouTube.
YouTube, yeah, YouTube, Google. Google is my best friend.
Yeah.
So, like, and that's the easiest way. You don't even need like an expensive webcam. The Logitech C920, when it first came out, it was like maybe 100 something, 200 maybe, and the highest right now is about $400. And
Nice.
it doesn't make sense.
I'm looking to the China ones, man. 4K camera. It's for about $50-$100 or something.
Exactly, yeah. So I
You'd be
have actually
surprised.
been looking at that, and just comparing and all that. And I'm like, man, if I'm gonna pay like $100, for something that can look decent, why not, right? But if I don't want to pay that money, I just use my phone. Like right now, any kind of phone is good. I was just having a conversation. This friend of mine, she wants to buy a second-hand iPhone X or iPhone 11. And I'm telling her that, why don't you just pay 600 or 700 ringgit, go and buy the new Xiaomi phone. It has 4 cameras and like 6 gig RAM and all that. Why don't you just use that, So
Yeah.
instead of paying like 2,000 for a used phone, right? Might as well pay, So
You know,
a lot of things are getting a lot cheaper as well.
It's just
You know,
that the
and-
perception you have that, I need brand new. This is the
Yes,
latest. But
correct.
you'll be surprised, man, when you just Google things and you find out the DIY things that people's been doing.
Yeah.
I'm amazed, man. I'm seriously
Yeah.
amazed. Gone are the days
like-
where you need to spend tens of thousands of dollars for setup, and now it's just few hundred
Exactly.
ringgit. It's done, man.
Yeah, and for example, like the YouTube like videos that are actually available, they're not just international stuff, There's actually Malaysian reviewers, Malaysian tech people who are reviewing like, all these like cheap cameras and phones and stuff like that. And so the thing is like everything is freely available. You don't need like crazy amount of money
Yeah.
to invest into all this equipment. Like to get an interface right now, a Behringer interface, you can get it for like 100, 200 ringgit. And if you can get it secondhand, even better. So you don't have to necessarily spend, 1,000 on a mic, 1,000, on an interface. No, like just need a small one, jalan.
Yeah,
and now,
trust me, because you have to. This is a compulsory investment in yourself. It is
Yeah.
very important, especially this age and time. Technology, everything is live stream, everything is online, so it's a
Yeah.
compulsory thing for you to do that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not necessarily you have to invest immediately every single thing. Just 1 month, you just get one. By the time
Yeah.
you know it, it's like the whole thing is completed. Because trust me, you do this show called Pop-Up Stage, and I've seen guests come on board. Sometimes you have to do. You have internet connections, you have camera
man.
problems. I faced the
Yeah.
same thing before.
Yeah.
Internet problems, camera problem. You want to adjust the camera. The face would be so close to the camera at one point in time.
Yeah.
Sound would be so echoish. Because trust me, for people like us, like I say, I'm not bitching, I'm not ranting or whatever, but
Yeah.
I'm just preparing it for. I'm just preparing some of the artists. Not necessarily this show, any platform
show
for
at
that
all, yeah.
matter. Yeah, there's going to be a point of time they're going to call you online and you're just going to have a chat. So how you sound, it makes a very important impact. It gives a very
Yeah.
important impact
Yeah.
towards for the entire show. Because if you
Yeah.
sound like echoish halfway through, running some cat running here and there,
Yeah.
people are just going to turn off.
yeah.
It's just like people
I mean-
lose interest because like the whole thing is a mess.
Yeah, as a listener watching the interview, you will be turned off, But can you imagine the feeling that the interviewer is actually feeling? Oh man, I tell you, like sometimes, like when I'm interviewing artists, I don't even feel like talking to them because they sound so terrible. It's
Yeah, I
not-
know, man.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, it only takes a little bit of investment, So as an artist, this will help and it'll go a long way, Now, the next thing that I actually want to say about interviews is media training. This is
Yeah.
a term that has been going on for years and years and years. And, like if you watch the Blackpink Netflix special, you will know the amount of stuff that they have to go through in order to be where they are. When they debuted, they came out strong only because
Yeah.
of the years of practice, blindly practicing, because they like when they get into like training school, they don't even know if they're going to debut.
Yeah,
Right? They're
true.
just training and training and training. Then they get put together, they train some more, and keep trying. And then eventually when they debut, then after that, it means that they are ready, So media training is so important, especially when it comes to interviews. Like some people are just such a bore to talk to. I just have to be real. Like
Oh, man.
when you're
Sometimes you
talking
just have to
about
bring
your
it out
music,
now.
when you're talking about your music, you gotta be excited about it. You can't just be like,
Yeah.
oh, I wrote this song about my cat, and my cat is like that lah.
Yeah.
You need to
Oh,
be able
man.
to explain, and expand your thought.
Yeah, make it sound interesting. I mean, you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough. Okay, I'll be honest with you. Like what Darren said earlier, for the guys who were interviewing the other side of the microphone, it is tough for us to make the conversation sound as interesting as possible.
Yeah.
We try our level best. You have no idea how much of pain we go through on the other side. And
Yeah.
here's what, okay, I'm just going to share this. Through the years of doing this, I think I've been doing this for about 20 years or so on.
Yeah.
And so one other thing is, like, especially when you come in as a band or a unit or whatever, remember, you are one. You come out as one sound, one unit. So whatever
Exactly.
differences you have among your band members, do not show it on the camera or in
Yeah.
front of the microphone. You got
Yeah.
issues among yourselves, keep it to yourself. Leave it outside the door before you get on board of the interviews.
Mm.
Like, don't like Rajo, this film, Rajo, that film. You talk like, you talk like, those kind of things.
Yeah.
Always be prepared. You have
Yeah.
to be prepared. Watch as many interviews as possible, both locally and
Exactly.
internationally. Pay attention to the conversation that's taking place.
Yeah.
Be prepared of the possible questions that might be thrown at you.
Yeah.
So at least you're prepared. Okay, let's say, for example, if you're going to talk about music, everybody knows who made the most common questions that will be thrown in is you got to talk about the music, who's behind the scenes, what is it all about. Make it sound as interesting as possible, because at the end of the day, you are selling it to your audience.
Yep, that's true.
So
Yeah,
you're
and-
going to be a salesman in one way or another to convince people to take a listen to your song, movies, or anything at all. So you have to
Yeah.
be into it. You have to do that PR thingy a little bit more.
Yeah. So PR is definitely, so PR and media training, these are two things that I feel artists, I mean, like the more experienced you are, the better you become, But you don't like suddenly one day wake up, you're so good already. No,
Yeah.
But how can you prepare yourself, like watching videos, Jimmy Kimmel is great,
Yeah.
or like, any of the interviews lah, and you can even watch your favorite band, like I watch like Fall Out Boy, Green Day, and all these guys, and how they answer when they are being interviewed, and like when to interject like jokes, and stuff like that, so it's really about emulating and just learning from people, like the best way to learn is to learn from other people's mistakes, right?
Yeah.
So go and watch videos, equip yourself with the knowledge. And actually all these things, I actually talked about it on my podcast, on Syokcast with Hits, right? So it's called The Rockstar's Guide to Surviving the Malaysian Music Industry, and this is actually one of the topics that I actually talked about, media training.
Yeah, it is important.
preparing
It is
yourself.
very important. Like I said earlier, been doing this for over 20 years, and I've
Yeah.
had chats with hundreds or maybe thousands of bands before. And of course, some of them are international, many of them are international. You can see the difference. You can see the contrast
Yeah.
of conversations that's taking place. Don't worry about if you can't speak well, you're fluent in English or Bahasa or whatever. Like, don't worry about that. No one cares about that. It's just that have fun. Make sure you're well prepared for the questions that's going to be thrown at you. That is very, very important, because some things that I was talking to some of the local artists off air through phone conversations, said, yeah, dude, this is something that a lot of people don't pay attention to. It's like, come on board. It's like one, they don't really prepare themselves for it. Two, they try to sound a little more smarter than the host itself. They want to overshadow the host, which is a big mistake. Trust me when I say this, that will be the biggest mistake you're going to make. You might look like as though like you're some sort of tycho over there, but at the end of the day, that will be the last time people invite you on board for a conversation. Not only this, because remember, when you go on board for one particular interview on, may say, one station or one TV, how you perform there will be the results of somebody else inviting you for the next set of interview. So when you have bad attitude shown at one particular station or maybe one particular show, the next person will feel afraid to invite you on board.
Yeah.
So they say, no, this guy has attitude. I don't want to come on board. And another thing is cancellations. When people book you for, like, say, an interview or special features or something like that, if you know you can't make it, please give a heads up. Because remember, you your absence, but for that particular show, is going to ruin the entire programming for the whole day or the whole week.
Yep.
To find a replacement guest is going to be difficult, which means it's going to be very difficult for the host or maybe the show and things like that. So please
Yeah.
have an advanced preparation or give an advance notice and try to avoid missing the show as much as possible.
Yep.
Have you seen that? Have you had that experience before?
Last minute cancellations, I mean, like, as a host, so far not yet, but I guess, like, sometimes it just, like, news go around really quickly.
Yeah.
The industry is so small. Music, TV. I mean, like, the entire entertainment industry is very small. Like, we may all be in, like, tiny little different scenes. But word still gets around. And
Yeah.
you want to stay clear of that, as an artist. You always want to remain positive. Like, my girlfriend's a huge Mariah Carey fan, and over the years, I think, like, and we had a chat recently saying that Mariah Carey is actually one of the few artists that has never had any major scandals.
Actually, yeah, come to think of it,
Yeah.
the only thing she
mean-
made was she got married to Nick Cannon. That's about it.
Yeah, Nick Cannon. that was the only thing, But, like, no other crazy stuff, like sex tape or, like whatever, like crazily drunk and all that. No, none like that,
They
So I guess,
those who do that seem to last longer.
yeah.
Surprisingly,
You're right.
if you notice the ones with the filled with scandals and issues and this, they seem to die off very quick.
Yeah.
But the ones who kept it clean are still going strong till this
Yeah.
very date, man.
That's
an
true. I
amazing
mean, it's
thing,
the same. It's the same for celebrities here in Malaysia as well. Like, two of my favorite celebrities that I had the opportunity to spend so much time with, working with them. When I was with the talent agency, is Yasmin Hani and Sazi Falak. Two of them are pretty much like the biggest names. From the past that are still very, very apparent right now. They are so down to earth.
Yeah.
They joke with me all the time, and like as if we're longtime friends. I mean, obviously, I had the opportunity to spend time with them, but I can see their attitude whenever I was with them at events or at like basically during work. When they're at their shoot or whatever, so accommodating. No air about them, nothing at all. They're just like, like any other person. As compared to younger artists that I've worked with, like, I'm a
diva-ness
rock
is
star,
kicking.
man. Yeah, the diva habis,
Yeah.
But I get it, because sometimes, because they don't have somebody like to tell them, to educate them,
Yeah.
you know.
They think that's
So-
how it is because at one point in time you had record labels who actually were
Yeah.
guiding most of these artists. It's like, no, you cannot say this. No, you cannot
Yeah.
do that.
No.
No, you were well groomed, so the discipline was actually built up.
Yeah.
So when the so-called independent scene started dominating, no
Yeah.
one had any idea whatsoever how the whole system works and how the conversation. So
Yeah.
now, even these days, after like seeing hundreds or maybe thousands of artists in my line of work, I was like, okay, this guy is going to last for 2 years. The other one 6 months. Okay, this one is going to go for another 10 years or more, which is pretty much, I would say, 90% of the time it has been accurate. So you can guess already. Some music can go very far and all. And speaking of music going very far, I got to thank you for inviting me the other day for your session with CD Baby the other day,
Oh yeah, man.
because it was a kind of an eye-opener for artists. And we're talking about distribution, music, how you want to get
Yeah.
it out there for new people. And I've also noticed another thing about looking into the right countries, the right places with the right population. Because in the conversation of with the so-called, okay, let me explain to the people who's listening in right now. Darren, together with CD Baby, had this so-called workshop, and they were talking about distribution, the most important things and all. And one of the conversations we're talking about distributing your music at the right places, not just solely focusing on the US market and so on. It's like you have the Asian market, especially for the Malaysian artists. It is surprisingly a huge market over there. It's
Yeah.
like I just realized I was doing some research, and I just realized the amount of listenership based on their population is fantastic, man. It's like, why isn't most of the artists focusing on those kind of countries? Have you any idea on that?
I feel like okay, personally for me, I have decided that my primary focus would be Southeast Asia or Asia, because I've played festivals in Taiwan, like Japan, Korea, India, India was pretty much like the furthest, that's like Asia, but like Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, we've done that. And I feel that the market in Southeast Asia and Asia in general, is a lot bigger. There are more places to go to. Like, it's more cost savvy, to travel. The currency is not as big, the exchange, language barrier, food, a lot of things are generally more, it makes more sense to be here in Asia. But because we are here in Asia and we're filled with so many different languages and cultures, the focus, I feel, we don't even need to go to the West, right here in Asia is where it's at.
Exactly.
And in fact, the West are trying to penetrate into Asia as well. There are some artists that are not like that became big because they broke in Asia, like they broke out in Asia, and then when they went back to US, then they're like, wow, so it's just a whole different thing.
I think it's because they've been sold the idea that the only place that you can ever make it is the West market. If you don't focus on the West market, you're doomed. You cannot make it anywhere else in the part of the world. But based on your conversation today, when you're talking about distribution of music and the countries that it was involved, I was like, okay, I did some research after that again, and you just realize they have an amazing response towards the Malaysian music, especially the Asian music. It's like a community by itself. Then when I'm having conversation with bands, just as yourself, they have also said that perform in these parts of Southeast Asia, and it was amazing how the crowds were reacting to how supportive they are when it comes to these kinds of shows. It's like, so why the hell isn't anybody continuing in that part, or rather focusing on that market or itself?
Yeah,
that was $1 million question for me. I was always puzzled on that part.
Yeah, so like over the years of performing in all these other countries, I like when I was working at Laundry at the Curve, that was actually what I was doing. I was trying to build a network, where Laundry was the base for KL, where bands from the region would come on tour. They would have to stop at Laundry, and that was what I was building, but the company went through a shuffle and all that. The company's bankrupt now, but the thing is, like, what I was trying to build was a regional circuit, so I had one friend in Singapore, one friend in the Philippines, and myself in Malaysia, and I was trying to hook up Indonesia and Thailand as well. That then we would have like a full-on circuit, and then later on comes like Korea, Japan, and Taiwan, right? So that was the idea, but of course, right now I don't have the liberty to have that kind of number one, a venue, and also the monetary support, like, because I would get the artists, like I would fly them in, get their tickets sorted and all that kind of stuff, so it was proper full-on like artist, kind of thing. So establishing a regional circuit, would make sense, but at the same time, because now we can't really travel, reaching out to the influential bands or artists or media partners in those countries, that will be the next step. That is how you're going to get into those places. Because like I've done work with my friend from Singapore, and he's been sending me things like artists from Singapore to promote here in Malaysia for many years now. And what I do is, I place them on the radio, I try to do whatever that I can to get the media talking about them here. Of course, I get a fee, right? So the same thing can be done for Malaysian artists going out. Reach out to the media partners, and it's only a matter of sending an email. If they don't reply, send again. Sometimes
True.
like they get like maybe they get like 50 emails a day. By the time they're at their like 25th email, they're probably tired already. So they might have missed your email. So, and then send again. Or try to find the contact person. Stalk them a little bit. I know some people don't like that. But if you
never know,
really want it that bad, you would find every single way to do it, lah.
You never know, because you have to push it. That's how I discovered a lot of artists. It's like through emails and all back from radio days itself, I just get some random message, hey, dude, can you help out? I just came out with a new song. I don't have a label. So it's like, I discovered a whole lot of bands. I'm not going to mention the names. Some of them are the big bands today. And these are the guys, when I first introduced them on radio way back then, they became huge right now. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of bands. It's because of that. It's because all those emails and trying to your level best, and they were not focusing on the big stations or other big names. They just, as long I get it out there, anybody and
Exactly.
everybody, please take a listen
Yeah.
to my stuff. So
Yeah.
that's how I'm looking at it. So this particular year, or rather 2020 and 2021, I think is the best time to do it because it's the
Yeah.
internet, man.
Yeah.
It's passport free. You get
Yeah.
to go any part of the
Yeah,
world and pass your
exactly.
music right
Yeah.
now. So I think if you even if you're focusing on live streams and whatever, you might want to just check out these countries because I had one of the artists chat with one of the artists, her manager from I don't know which label, I can't recall. She was chatting with me and she was doing some live streams and so on, but the audience that she was catering to was from China.
Yeah.
And to my surprise, these are the people who make at least about 2 to 5 grand a night per
Yep.
show by the
Yep.
live streams. And she didn't focus on U.S. market; she didn't focus locally, and she did it for the China market. And she
Yeah.
made tons of money doing those kind of shows. So
Yep.
go for it, man. I should say most of the artists should start paying attention into that market.
Yeah. And it's true, like we shouldn't just only focus on Malaysia, because like or even try, to constantly think, oh, I need to go to the US, only in US I can make it. No, that's not true. Like China's a huge market, and I
Yeah.
know people in China, they love English Asian music, and yeah, and that's the truth, so there's
I think they're more
always
comfortable.
opening.
It just feels like home. It's like some of my guys are just singing it.
Yeah,
we're
correct.
Malaysians. We can blend into any part of the world,
Yeah.
and we look like any one of them, especially in
Yeah.
the Asian region. So we might as well just try out the those kind
Yeah.
of stuff. Because like I said earlier, when I was just posting, I was just chatting about the podcast itself and the countries it penetrated. It's just something random. I did not expect. I did not push it in those countries. It's just randomly picked from those countries. So imagine this is just a simple podcast show. But think about what can a musician do, an artist do to get into the market. You never know how big or how huge
Yeah.
you can become, man. It's huge. I just hope for that to happen someday. I hope they start looking into the east instead of just the west, man.
Yeah.
Think about
the
it.
East
Alright,
is,
let's-
is definitely the like the biggest market, man. The biggest consumption of Western music is actually here in the East, But the biggest consumption of K-pop, is also here in the East. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so think about it. Why are you going on to places which is not appreciating much of your music? It's like they pick 1 in 5 million people. So you might as well just focus on 5 million people picking on you. So that's
Yeah,
what I would like to look at
that's
it, man.
true. That's
And
true.
speaking of new music, let's talk about yours, man, before I wrap this whole thing up. I don't give a damn about you. Their brand new remix. I kind of like, I have to admit it. What I like about this particular track is that, back in the days when an artist releases a single, when they say single, that single comes in 4 to 5 different versions. You remember that or not?
Yeah.
The samplers you
Yeah.
used to get?
Yeah.
So that's how it reminded me, which I kind of love it because you can see
Yeah.
different versions of your song. And this particular version that's coming out next week, let's talk about that a little bit down here. Who is involved in this particular remix, man?
So with this one, he's a DJ producer. He calls. I mean, as a producer, he's fairly new. But he's been DJing for a while. His name is Chunho. His DJ name is Chuno. So it's TCHUNO. He's an amazing guy. And he was introduced to me by Ramsey Westwood. So Ramsey is obviously a very influential DJ as well, and so is Chuno. So Ramsey told me, hey, like Chuno's my guy, I gave him the stems, like your vocal stems, and he's gonna work on it, let's do something. So initially we had the idea of running a competition, to say that, okay, it's a competition, and then get all the stems and do whatever you want to it, And when Ramsey shared Chuno's remix with me, I was like, this is so good, let's not do a competition anymore. Let's just take this song and release it, So that was exactly what happened, So it was done like in November, but we just took our time and said, okay lah, let's just release it in January as a brand new song. So the idea was to end the entire series for I Don't Give a Damn with Ramsey's remix, and his remix was actually the 5th one. But because Chuno's remix is just so out of this world, I said, okay lah, we need to do this lah, we need to release this, So this is actually the 6th and final one, and
Nice.
hopefully this year, I'll be able to release more like originals. But yeah, man, I mean, like you saying that, like the singles, I remember like the singles came in the thin CD cases.
Yeah, the still cases, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
This mix, radio mix, that exit.
Correct. Radio mix, extended mix, alternate mix, whatever, all the different remixes. Yeah, so I am actually, like, once this song is released digitally, I'm actually going to compile all of them and make them into one, like, album, and so there's 6 versions plus the original I Don't Give a Damn, so there's 7 tracks on it, so I'm just gonna compile it so everybody can kind of like listen to all the versions at one go.
Nice.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. I kind of like the idea, man. I just love that idea because it's like sometimes you just love one particular song and you just want to hear different versions of it. How would it sound like? And you did a brilliant job with this one, man. It's an amazing idea getting all the DJs involved. I think it's a good thing. I think that most of the artists should be doing that also.
True, and it's also like to encourage like artists to cross platforms as well, because like if you're a rock band, it doesn't mean that you can't work with a hip hop guy or a trance DJ, like you can always do that, there's always an opportunity to cross promote, like I was but I actually put out like a remix album in 2017, like there were 16 tracks produced by local producers, DJs, and regional producers as well. And I managed to do it, like I put out like 16 remixes, man, like, and it's crazy to find so many producers locally who are able to do crazy stuff.
Yeah, you never know. You might have that one right sound which you want to continue or pursue further in your future music. It could happen, man.
And a lot of these guys are actually, like big names as well, So I'm actually quite fortunate. Like for example, like Ramsey, like he's a big name in the nightlife scene here in Malaysia, So I was actually quite surprised, that he said like, hey, I want to do a remix for you, I'm like, cool. So
it works out fine. So there's options. There's always options and no excuses of not doing anything or not coming out with anything, man. You just come out with one track, and the one track you can just go on for another 6 months with different versions of it. Actually, come to think of it, right? But at least it was worthwhile instead of just waiting for one song and then you got to come up with another song if you can't make it. It's a bit difficult. So at least this way you have option, a continuity, or consistency of releases and music, which is a brilliant way, man. You've got it right. I think you figured out the formula pretty well for 2020 and 2021, man. Good job, man. I hope the artists do that because I have a lot of conversations. You know me, right? I'll just chat with anybody and everybody. So I hear a lot of excuses, and I hope this particular show would actually enlighten some of them on things to do. Prepare yourself for 2021 because let's face it, we do not know whether the doors or the stages are going to be open anytime soon. It's going with the chaos. I don't think so. 2021 is going to be expecting anything. So just be prepared. Look for alternatives. And I hope this particular podcast would help you just look into it. As a matter of fact, if you want some more ideas, just check out Darren's podcast on the show, right?
Yep, that's right.
On how to be a rock and roll artist.
Rockstar. A rockstar's guide to surviving the Malaysian music industry. Yeah, so go on, download the Syokcast app. It's on there for free. You can listen to it, anytime at all. They're not even long sessions. They're not an hour long. They're not even like 45 minutes long. It's only like 10, 15, max 20 minutes long. Small, tiny chunks, very concise and easy to get, So, like, you can watch all these videos of people telling you, the trends in the world, and stuff like that. All these experts from labels and all that. Now, I feel that it's always great to have that kind of knowledge, to hear what people are doing outside of Malaysia, but like the podcast that I have done, it's actually, I'm not boasting, it's just that these are things and experiences that I am sharing, because it is in the context of Malaysia. Yeah. So
it
everything
happens.
Yeah, so I guess when it's contextual, when it's more relatable, it makes more sense.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. I mean, let's face it, it's knowledge for free. Absolutely free. You're not going to pay for thousands of ringgit for some guy to give you a speech on stage and tell you this is how your future is going to be. You're going to be a multi-millionaire right now after this particular program. Pay 5,000 ringgit and it's going to happen. No, it doesn't work that way. Networking, another important thing that's you need to do for 2021. Like I said, Darren said earlier, cross promos, check out this kind of shows, have chats. You never know, man. Collab with somebody out there. You never know how things could kick off, and don't just expect all the popular ones. Like, look, start digging deeper. You never know. You might find some amazing talents. Like Karaze was one of it. I saw that.
Yeah.
I'm still amazed with that kid, man. I'm still amazed with that boy, man.
Like, he's been showing me stuff, like stuff that he's been producing and all that. In fact, he's got a track that's in the works right now with Nadira. Yeah,
nice.
So it's a full-on hip-hop song, and it's cool, So he's managed to fuse in like Indian elements into the song and all that. So he's doing the Kajang way, just like how Roshan has done with all his tracks, with K-Town and with his own stuff and all that. There's always that Indian element to it, So he's doing it the same way too, and he's doing it right, and he's only 17 years old.
He's amazing, man. If you guys haven't checked him out yet, go on Spotify and look for Karaze, Karazey. He's an amazing kid, and his stuff is way ahead of his time, man, or his age. That's what I can say, man. That's for his age. He's way advanced in that, man. Darren, thank you so much, dude. I am looking forward for your music, which is coming out next week and tomorrow, or rather today when this broadcast is out. You're also releasing Vanessa, the music video for your sessions that you had. That's an amazing. Anything else you've been working on after this?
Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I am in fact going to revive. So Ian, like my drummer, he used to be in a band called Unexpected Mercy, and it was, and we met when I was in Army of 3. So Unexpected Mercy was another like heavy metalcore Christian band, and even that also they disappeared, right? So, but that was also when Ian transitioned into my band. So he was playing guitar in that band, and his sister was the drummer. So anyway, Ian is also a drummer, so he joined the band. And last month we decided, hey, I think it's about time, because for many years I've always said to him, hey, I should be the new singer in Unexpected Mercy, and so the last one we decided, hey, I think we're gonna revive Unexpected Mercy, so we're gonna re-record some of the old songs, and then we're gonna write some new ones as well. So basically,
it's the calling, lah.
Yeah, so there are 3 new projects that I'm working on, so there's An Honest Mistake, there's Shamash, and also Unexpected Mercy. So hopefully, Unexpected Mercy will be able to put something out, by in the next couple of months.
Cool, man. Cool. I'm looking forward for that. In the meantime, for those who want to check out all the stuff from Darren, you can always follow him on Instagram at DarrenAHM. And also you can follow him on YouTube. YouTube, you got 2 channels, right? You have the Honest Mistakes
the
channel,
main
right?
one. So the only YouTube channel that I like mostly post stuff on is An Honest Mistake TV. That is where most of the videos are at. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'll try to post that up on this particular podcast, and you guys can click on it, check it out, follow him, and listen to all the tracks available. Amazing track. And just in case, if you have some stuff that you'd like to share with Darren, feel free to message him. Drop him a line, man. If you can get access to his email address or whatever, drop him. You never know how you guys can work things out. So, Darren, thank you so much, dude. Thank you so much for the chat.
Thanks so much,
I
man.
truly appreciate it, man. And congratulations for whatever you've been doing for the past couple of months. You've been keeping the scene alive. You have set a great example to many people out there. Yeah. Hats off to you,
Appreciate
man. Really
it,
hats
man.
off to you there, man. I'm looking forward to see more stuff of your stuff coming out soon.
Thanks, man.